Hello and welcome to Cracked Open, a podcast guiding you on your journey to becoming a vessel of unconditional love. This is your host, Beck Milonis, High Priestess, Channel, and Activator. Join me on this series as I share reflections, insights, and channel transmissions from my journey of walking the initiation path. Each episode is a unique transmission containing supportive frequencies to facilitate the deepest healing, activation, and reconnection with your soul. I invite you to open your mind and set the intention to receive this episode into your heart space. Let's go. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Cracked Open, a podcast about becoming a vessel for unconditional love. It's nice to see you all again as I begin to record more episodes, as I have landed back in Australia, as you can see from my settings if you're on the video. Today is going to touch on a few things. I really want to get into the current energy. So this is going to be current when it's released this Friday, the 19th of May, 2023. But the messages here will also relate to whenever you're listening to this. If you're listening to it, it's always in divine timing. I want to share some of the things that have been happening for me because it's been fucking wild since the end of the eclipse. It's always wild. It's always this wild roller coaster where I'm like, roller coaster. I'm like, I finally get my footing and then things just shift. And what I want to talk about is how we navigate alignment, how we navigate shifting, collapsing timelines where we feel so certain about one timeline, one potential, one thing, one trajectory that we're on. And then suddenly it's like, whoa, what the fuck? I'm on this whole other timeline trajectory. I feel like at the end of this, I'm here to do an activation today, a recalibration, a timeline recalibration for those of you who have been feeling what I am coming on to talk about today, this shift. So to begin with, I want to talk about collectively what we're going through in the past kind of week or so since the closure of the eclipse portal. What feels like has been happening is mass timeline closures and shifts. As a collective, we are shifting out of the third dimensional matrix. It feels like there's some massive glitches going on within the matrix, and it's starting to really come undone. So that third dimensional reality, that matrix that we're all plugged into, that grid we're all being plugged into, is reconfiguring. It's falling apart. And as a result, there is a huge dumping of trauma, of purging happening in the collective. Whether you are sensitive or not, people are feeling this. I'm even noticing my mom is saying, I'm having these massive headaches in the exact same place that I have. I've been having this pressure in my crown and between my eyes, like intense, almost like a migraine. My heart feels like it's been in this vice, just being squeezed. I've been feeling exhausted, really fucking wonky. There's been glitches, so time lapses. I'm losing time. I'm relating different to time. It feels very surreal. It feels like I am living in this very unreal matrix, right? Like I'm seeing through the matrix in this way where my ego, my human level is freaking out a little bit, because what's been happening. So let's take this back a notch. What's been happening for the past kind of couple years, I think it's a couple years, maybe a year or so, since 2020, they're telling me, okay, is we've been shifting as a collective. There's some of us who have been bouncing between 5D and 3D. And we'll have these moments of feeling fully anchored into the 5D version of Earth or Gaia because it's already here. And then we'll shift very, very quickly back to 3D. And there's this massive contrast between being and operating within the matrix and then having this whole other reality, which is existing in 5D. And it's very jarring and confusing. What feels like is happening and what I'm being told to say is that we are really, there's those of us who have been doing that shifting, consciously now being removed from the old template, the old reality, and being kind of recalibrated towards 5D. So there's been a dumping of stuff within us, which is still holding on to or keeping us, holding on to. There's lots of energy moving, guys, in this transmission. So bear with me. Hopefully I won't vomit because that's kind of how I feel right now. locking us into these lower timelines. And so that is being cleansed right now. Like I said, people who aren't necessarily energetically sensitive will be feeling this. And because they're not processing this stuff, those who are sensitive might be feeling a lot more, because we're tapped into the collective in that way. So some things that you can do if this is you and you're feeling this is really consciously protect your energy with source light, protect yourself from the collective energy, ask to be held in a bubble of source light. So let's all do that now, just surrounding this space in a big bubble of source light, and protecting all of us from that. And to be anchoring yourself into those higher timelines that are available. So I'm going to switch gears for a second and talk about why often psychics get it wrong. They get it wrong, and why I don't actually future forecast anymore. And some of the things that have been happening for me lately, that kind of prove this theory. It's not just now, it's been in my life a lot, where because I'm so psychic, I see timelines, I see potentials. And what happens is I'm so certain of potential, or I see this one potential. And that's really what a psychic is doing, is they are able to see the threads of all the possible timelines and potentials based on your current energy, right? And all that really needs to happen is for one tiny thing to shift, for that timeline to suddenly collapse, right? It's no longer available. It's recalibrated. It's either that, you've gone in a way, you've lowered your frequency. So due to a thought or doubt, or not making a choice, not making a decision, and that timeline is no longer available. And, like it's not on the cards anymore, or you've up leveled. This is what happens to me. I up level so fucking quickly that it almost like the timelines expand and more is available. And so that thing that was in alignment 5 minutes ago isn't fucking in alignment anymore. And I've had this with, oh, this person's going to come into your life, or this opportunity is here. Or for instance, recently you would have heard me talking about getting a job, and working within that container of rewilding. And I'm actually going to have my former boss or co-creator, facilitator coming in. And it's really funny. I just got a work-related email about that saying I've been removed from the workspace. I know I've been removed. I've removed myself to talk about that exodus and talk about what happened there and how we navigated that, how we're navigating the shifting alignment. 3 months ago, it dropped in that the highest timeline for me and the most aligned thing for me was to get a job. And so I did. And this job appeared, working as a content creator within Rewilding, who is a beautiful, big women's work company, I suppose you'd call them. And for 3 months, it was so fucking aligned. We were all like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, you're perfect for this. It's so aligned. There was just so much magic being created. I was going through a lot of shifting through that process, through being in that container. And it was so fucking perfect. And it opened up a whole bunch of stuff. And then about 2 weeks ago, I started feeling something within me was saying, there's something not right here. There's something that's it's misaligned. And I started having these thoughts of, oh, I'm going to lose my job, and fears coming up around that. And, all my stuff of like programs where I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, where something's going really well and I'm waiting for it to all fall apart, or all of that conditioning was coming up for me during eclipse season. Surprise, surprise. Eclipses really bring up and recalibrate us towards highest soul destiny, highest soul purpose, highest mission, highest timeline. And so it's this huge recalibration of falling away. And so if anything fell away for you over the past month or so during the eclipse portal we just went through, it's meant to be gone, right? It's a very karmic time of releasing karma, of releasing relationships, jobs, things, ways of being that don't serve us. And so I see in hindsight how I had to be in that. I learned so many fucking lessons in the short amount of time I was there. And I started feeling about 2 weeks ago, something's going on. And I thought I was being paranoid, and I was like, no, I'm really psychic. There's something going on. I got on a call with my boss, and she was feeling like there was some misalignment and we couldn't figure out what that was. And there was some space between kind of our calls. And I had about 5 days on my own, and feeling the, oh, this is over. This is really over. And part of me really wanted to cling, because I really fucking loved working in that. I loved it. I was really enjoying it. It was easy. It was aligned. It was beautiful. That stability of having that constant income was amazing. But in the back of my head, the whole time, I was like, I really want to focus on my business. And I really want to, all this energy and the momentum that I'm building, I really want to put this be on my business. And it was sad to me of taking that focus away from what I thought was my higher purpose. So that was always playing around in the background of, I know that this isn't forever. I know that at some point, all of this energy and this momentum that I've built is going to be put back into my business. I didn't think it'd be so soon. So I had to deal with that and sit with the grief of, holy shit, this thing that I thought was so stable and solid that was bringing me security is being removed from my life, and not creating stories around it's because I'm not good enough, because I fucked up, because I failed, all of this shit. And we talked this through on our, final call together. And she acknowledged, you're amazing. Like, you've done so much, and it's not about your abilities or your skill or what you've done. And, our growth has gone through the roof since you started working with us. There's this alignment piece of, I know and I feel that you're here to do other things. You've got a bigger mission, you've got another thing. So you're not fully all in forever. And we're here to build. And what happened in that, the few months of me working within that container, was that the vision expanded for that entity. And I would like to say that I'm a fucking soul catalyst. So my energy being in that space probably helped propel this. And that's what I was there for, to help open up that mission to be bigger for them to see that potential. And because of that, I was no longer the best person to be in that role, because I couldn't see it through. I couldn't see the next iteration of that transformation through. And because there were other things that were wanting to come in for me, that I needed to come back into alignment with my purpose and mission again. So it's like my mission shifted. The alignment was no longer there. And when that happens, we have a tendency to want to cling to the known, cling to the thing that was bringing us the stability or the income or the certainty or the joy or whatever it was, because we're afraid that something better won't become available to us on the other side. And so we want to cling, right? And I saw that all coming up for me. And I was like, I can see that right now. I truly want to cling, and I truly want to hold on to this, because I'm afraid of, what if I leave this and I don't suddenly catapult in my business and opportunities come in and magical aligned things, like the alignment that brought me in here. What if this magic isn't available to me anymore? Which is bullshit, because coming into that space, the magic, the fucking source led divine magic is the only word that aligned all of that in the first place. It was unfathomable, right? And so I'm like, I don't know if that magic is going to be available to me again to line things up. And guys, it fucking totally has, right? Like, spoiler alert, here am I, thriving again. I just brought in a whole bunch of income in my business out of, nothing coming in my business in a while, and suddenly mass influx. I've had an opportunity come up to go speak in Mexico at a conference, which I've said yes to that too. I've been published on Elephant Journal. Certain things have been happening in my reality for me to be like, that was correct. You've made the right choice. You stuck to your guns. You trusted. And now here is this whole other timeline available to you, of you being in your business with all that. So the thing that I loved the most, right, about this experience was who I was being in that role. Because I was really showing up, and I had all of this energy and all of this motivation, and it didn't matter how I was feeling. If I was feeling wiped out or tired or whatever it was, I just seemed to have this endless energy to get shit done. And I was so productive, and I was so driven, and I was like, I do not want to fucking lose this, right? I don't want to lose this purpose, this forward momentum. And at the same time, I was having all these ideas for my business. So it was like, I thought that entering this position would stop me from being able to focus on my business, right? I would be burnt out, and I wouldn't have ideas or inspirational motivation. To the contrary, it showed me how much fucking energy I can actually hold and command through my body, how much more motivation, how much more inspiration, how much life force I actually had. So it was a beautiful gift, because it showed me, well, if you're doing this for someone else's business, could you imagine if on the other side of this, all this devotion, all this energy, all of this discipline, this purpose, this focus, this ability to show up, you took that and you started putting it into your own business, right? Wow. Never done that before to the degree that I've been doing it. And so I knew, subconsciously, I knew it wasn't forever. I did, like I said, think that maybe it would be a bit longer, particularly because I had plans to go to Mexico in the next month. And I was like, sweet, I'll be fully supported and anchored, and I don't have to worry about income or anything else because I know that that's taken care of. So we had this conversation. We decided to part ways. It was a really beautiful, conscious discussion. So I'm really excited for you guys to come meet her. And we're going to talk on here about that and talk about alignment a little bit more and talk about, honoring where the alignment is and honoring the changing and being able to honor our truth, right? Because that truth changes. And our realities change when we clear things, when we go through a massive fucking death and rebirth portal, like an eclipse season. Who we are when we enter that period, when we enter into those contracts, we enter into that job, when we enter into that relationship, we enter into that business, is not the same person as on the other side of that portal. And so, of course, the timelines, the potentials, the highest soul purpose or mission is not going to be the same. And so for me, I collapsed so many fucking timelines in that energy, in that little incubator that was that rebirth and death portal, death and rebirth portal of the eclipse, that it wasn't in resonance. And one of the reasons why we parted ways was that I wasn't able to, there wasn't this certainty that I'd be able to stay there, which wasn't at the start an issue, right? When we discussed the whole thing, she said, I know that you're not going to be here for longer than maybe 6 months, a year, and I'm okay with that. And because I shifted, and because the timeline shifted, and because this project shifted, that was no longer true, right? And so we need to be willing and able to honor the truth in any given moment. We need to be willing and able to see where a timeline has shifted, where something that was available to us and was the highest thing no longer is. Because if we cling to something that is no longer the highest thing, we are potentially missing something far more incredible, right? So if this is you and you're clinging to an old relationship, an old identity, an old job, an old way of being, an old position, an old container that you're offering, whatever it is, and it's not working, and you're being guided to let it go and shed it, 9 times out of 10, it's because there's something better that wants to come in, right? Because you have grown, you have shifted, you have realigned. And so it just makes sense. It's just fucking logic that what's available to you is different, right? And I've been feeling this like really deeply as we're making this shift into the 5D. It's like quick, like time collapsing is available. And the things that I thought were maybe like years down the line for me, like opportunities such as this speaking gig, for instance, now they seem much closer, right? And so that's what a timeline jump or a quantum leap is. It's something that was not available to you previously suddenly becomes available to you because you have up leveled so fucking significantly in your energy, or maybe the grid itself has up leveled so significantly that what is available now far surpasses what is available or what was available before. Give me a moment. And so people get frustrated when they go to psychics and the psychic does a reading for them. And they say, you're going to meet this person in a year, or you're going to have success within this month, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. And months, years, decades go by and that thing doesn't happen. And they're like, that psychic was full of shit. And it's like, no, that psychic wasn't full of shit. They were just reading one potential that you got attached to, rather than following, the alignment, following the truth, following maybe that one potential of that one person no longer resonates with you anymore because you've up leveled, and now what's available to you is someone far better. And maybe you need to wait for that person now to come into alignment. It used to piss me off so much that I would call in these connections. They were so fucking aligned. And then within weeks, because of the rapid up leveling that I would be doing, spirit would take them away from me. They literally remove them from my life. And I'd be like, what the fuck? I got whiplash over here being like, but we were supposed to be, what? Like, what's happened? Right? Happened with this job recently. I was like, but this was so aligned. Like, what the fuck? And we can have a tendency to get disappointed and feel victimized and feel frustrated. But there's this saying around, the same hand that's taking the thing from you is also the hand that's going to gift you with the blessing, right? I think it might be Rumi. It's on my Rumi cards. It's talking about the same hand that slaps your hand away and says, no, this way, is actually opening the opportunity for you and it's going to give you your blessings. So look at, what's leaving, what is ending? What is like so fucking done that there is no doubt? There is no doubt that that's done. Like, what are you clinging to that is preventing you from showing up at the higher level? And there was resistance for me of like, fuck, like, what if I can't show up in my business in that way? What if there's something blocking me? And I've seen myself reliving old templates of like hustling and pushing myself, when really in the past 7 days, because of all of this shit that's happening collectively, I just am really tired and I want to rest. And I know that Spirit's saying like, look at all these people coming in and all this income coming in suddenly and all these things aligning, and you don't need to push. It's going to happen. Like, you can chill, you can take a day off. You're not slipping back to an old way of being. It's a new level, it's a new thing. And of course, you're not going to lose that momentum and that discipline or whatever it is, but you need to take a break, right? And I've been ignoring it. And I finally given myself permission over the past couple of days to just be like, okay, I'm going to take a fucking break. I know I got readings to do. I know I got client sessions. I know I've got to record this podcast. Even this podcast has been in the back of my mind for 2 weeks, being like, I need to record this fucking podcast. Let's do it. Today's not the day. Today's not the day. Today's not the day. Feeling like, oh my God, I need to do it. And I was waiting and I was like, soul, spirit, God, show me, give me the topic. What is it? And then last night when I went to go to sleep, it dropped in. This is what you want to talk about, alignment and truth, right? Because that's the reality, is that there are always higher timelines and potentials available to us, particularly when we're shifting timelines in the ways that we are. And it could be so much more fucking magical than you ever dreamed, right? Like, it's not that when something is getting taken away from you, you're going to go backwards. It's that it's a yes and, right? It's like, it could be that amazing and some. So for instance, with this thing, it could be like, I have that much drive and purpose and focus and discipline and energy and life force and consistent income, and it gets to be through my own thing, right? My own business. I get to have that much motivation and drive and focus in my own business. Or a person that you just let go of, they have all these attributes that you really love. Yeah, it gets to be all of that, and they get to be a little bit more fucking aligned. They get to be a little bit more perfect. It gets to be a little bit more magical, right? So can you reframe? This is the invitation. When something is leaving, when there is an ending, can you reframe it that this is not being taken from me to punish me. This is being taken from me to give me something even better, right? And can you honor those endings, right? And this is what I really love, and this is why I'm having her on. I loved how we closed that out. There was so much love and gratitude for that woman and that time that we spent. And it's not having bitterness of, oh, you broke up with me, or oh, you fired me, or oh, you left my life, or oh, this client suddenly is not paying me and hasn't showed up, and I want to be angry now and hold bitterness for what is no longer. It's not that. It's the energy of, I really see in those 3 months that I was there how fucking perfect and divine it was, and how much it served me, and how much I got through being in this woman's space, in her business, in her energy. I see it as a gift and a blessing. And can you honor what it was? And yes, grieve it. Of course, I'm not saying don't grieve it and don't be sad. I was fucking grieving it. I was sad. I cried for a day and I was like, fuck. All my unworthiness, all my failure shit had to come up for me to be like, it's an illusion. What makes you think that you're not supported? Suddenly, after 4 and 5 years of this crazy fucking thing, this time you're not going to be supported. This time Spirit's not going to show up for you, right? And it was really funny because in those days where we had that space to both sit and process before we came back together to close things, I had like 4 or 5 different random things happen, like within my own business, as Spirit nudging me, being like, don't worry, girl, there's all this other stuff going on in the background. Like, the Elephant Journal posted my shit. I had this email back about this speaking gig. I had 2 people like message me random, like things like that kept happening, to be like, look, might look really shitty that this is not working out now, but there's some stuff brewing in the background. Just trust, it's all going to be okay, right? So that's the message for today, is like, can you honor that ending, that relationship, that thing, that whatever it was, and see the gift in it, see the blessing in it, see how it transformed and evolved you, rather than resenting and being bitter and being angry and falling into a thinking pattern of that's as good as it gets. and it's not going to be that good ever again, and I'm losing something, because you're never losing something really, right? You are never losing something because there's always something else available that is more aligned. And that's what it means to follow the alignment. It's being able to sense that subtle shift in what is my truth now? What is my truth? 3 months ago, it was so my fucking truth to work for someone else. It was so her fucking truth to have me in there working with her. Now, that truth has changed, right? And we can sit there and honor an old truth, an old version, an old level, and be like, but that was the truth. And so therefore it still is the truth. Or we can see that truth and alignment shifts from minute to minute with every decision, with every up level, with everything we clear, with every choice that we make. Literally every single choice that you make puts you on a different timeline, right? Literally every choice. You choosing to walk to the gym instead of drive to the gym, that's a whole other fucking timeline, right? And I'm not saying this to freak you out, because the other thing that you need to know is that all of the rivers, all of the streams lead to the same place. So you're not going to miss anything by making the wrong choice, is what I want to say. What I am saying, though, is that some of those streams have a fucking kayak, right? And under that kayak, there's like 30 turtles. Turtles are not a good example. Turtles came from an analogy about a stream that I might have mentioned on another podcast, but there's like something that swims really fast attached to your kayak. God fucking entities, angels, mermaids. Mermaids. I like mermaids. Let's go with mermaids. There's mermaids underneath that kayak that are working for the divine, that are going to take you up the stream, which is the most aligned, the most easy, the most fucking streamlined, effortless, magical fucking way. If you could choose the most magical, quick, easy, aligned, fucking unfathomably, perfect way to do something, wouldn't you choose that? Wouldn't you choose the easiest way? If there were beings and, subtle realm beings and guides and angels supporting you to get on the fastest kayak route, to your destiny, wouldn't you choose that? Or would you still be in this stream over here being like, but this was aligned and I'm going to cling to this slow way of doing it because that's all that I see and this feels safe, right? Personally, I know which fucking stream that I'm choosing, right? Because the truth is, so long as we are asking, tap me into the highest potential, not only for myself, but for everyone. We become limitless. We become channels for the divine to work through, right? And that means being able to notice the subtle shift, being able to tune into, I'm being directed here now, right? And I don't know why, and I don't understand why, and it seems like a step backwards, but sometimes that step backwards is a fucking massive leap forwards, right? Sometimes the ways in which things are brought into our life, our destiny is made manifest, is wild and unfathomable. And we can't see it when we're over here in this other stream being like, I want to fucking control this. I want to go down this stream because I know that the bend is going to go this way and that's going to go this way. And this is what I want. It's like, God's like, get in the fucking kayak, Beck. Get in the kayak. Let me take you, right? And you will always get there, even if you hold on to this old stream for a while and you're like refusing and you're sticking your oar in the ground and you're like, no, this is the one that I like. Fine, make it hard for yourself. It's fine. You can do that. You'll get there eventually, right? There is no wrong decision, is what I want to say as well. There is no sidestep. There is no fucking trajectory shift. There is no choice that you can make that does not eventually lead to your destiny. Like, let that sink in. You can't fuck it up. You literally cannot fuck it up. Even if you wasted 3 months of your life working for someone, I don't believe that, right? So I'm saying the hypothetical is, if I saw this as I just wasted 3 months of my fucking time and my life I could have been spending on my business. What are the gifts in that, right? How is that now helping me to access a higher stream with a faster kayak, right? There is no thing that you can do. There is no action that you can take or decision towards your destiny that isn't going to take you there eventually. Every single choice you make, if it is in alignment at the time and it is your truth at the time and it feels like the right thing to do, there's a reason why it feels like the right thing to do, right? And that reason might not be the reason that you think it is. Like me getting into that, I was like, cool, I'm going to be there for a year and then this and that and whatever and fucking Mexico and rah, rah, all these things. At that time, I had to believe that to get in the stream, get in the fucking kayak that God was offering me. Otherwise, I'd be like, no, I'm going to stay over here in my old shitty fucking non-mechanical kayak. Not that kayaks are mechanical. I don't know where I'm going with this analogy, guys. I'm over here sitting on a turtle, being like, but you told me to get on the turtle's back. And I want to stay in my business. And I'm fucking hell bent on like holding on, right? It reminds me of when I was a coach and people kept telling me I was fucking clinging to my coaching business. And people were like, there's this other thing that you're here to do, and it's going to fulfill you so much more. And it's going to be so magical. And I was like, nah, I'm a coach. I know that I'm the next Tony Robbins in the coaching world. And this is the only way that this is going to happen, right? And so I'm sticking to that, right? Just think about the logic behind this, guys. Like, would you take the easier route if it was being offered to you? That's the invitation for today. And maybe pray and ask, what is the easiest, most effortless, most joyful, most fun, most magical, wildest journey? The fastest route, the path of least resistance, the most beautiful one, the most enjoyable one, right? Because I don't know about you, but I'm fucking done with it being difficult. I'm done with it being a hard slog of learning lessons, and every fucking thing that happens, I'm derailed by it. And I'm so like, oh my God, it's the end of my life because this thing didn't go to plan. Like, that is such an old way of thinking. That's old paradigm thinking, seeing everything as a failure, right? What if we could see everything as perfect? What if we could see every little thing that didn't work out as divine? Like, it's fucking divine that that didn't work out. In some way, it was some higher consciousness protecting me or supporting me or whatever it is, right? Like changing our relationship to how we see things. And I remember at the start of when, and you'll remember me talking about this from the episode about this, when that job came in, I was feeling into this highest potential of who I would become as a result of that position. And it was this version of me who was so solid and nothing in the external could shake her. And she was just like, poof, I am good. No matter what fucking happens, I'm good. And that had to be tested and tested and tested and reaffirmed through so many times when things went fucking tits up, when the rug was pulled from beneath me, when I got whiplash because it was like, whoa, I thought this thing and now suddenly it's gone, or like suddenly it's not in alignment. All this shit had to happen for me to get to this level. And I feel like I remember thinking, I'm feeling this version of myself in Mexico, having worked with them for a little while. And she's so solid. And some shit must have to happen between now and then for me to be that trusting. And I was like, that's quite a shift. I wonder what will happen. Here we are. It's happening. And it was beautiful to watch myself, like with the potential of losing my stream of income, right? Because, like I said, hadn't been working in my business for a while. Just like most people, I think, in this world would completely collapse at the prospect of losing their job. I just moved back to Sydney to live with my parents again, and I just lost my job. What a fucking failure I am. That's what could have been playing out in my mind. I've just taken this huge leap backwards where now I'm in a room in winter. I don't have income. I have no drive. The thing that I thought was aligned is not aligned. I thought I was going to Mexico, and now I have no fucking way of getting to Mexico. Like, what the fuck? Right? Could have been how I handled that. And yes, of course, I grieved, I moved through it. But how I handled it was like, well, the magic that got me in there is going to get me to the next thing. And that's how we need to operate, right? It's that trust, which, granted, many of us don't have access to at the start of the journey. And so we need to go through this stuff to strengthen us. And it's not fun, right? It's not. And it feels like I had a friend say to me the other day, he's like, how you been? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I've just had some major fucking things shift, and like I don't really know what way is up at the moment. And I'm like, oh, the universe just pulling its fucking usual, pulling the rug out from beneath me. And he said to me, I feel like the universe is really mean like that sometimes and cruel. And honestly, like 6 months ago, I maybe would have identified with that and been like victimized and been like, yeah, the universe is fucking mean how it tests us and it dangles this carrot before us only to snatch it away. But part of me just bred that and was like, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. I could see it like that. Sure, I could see what a fucking unfair thing to happen. It's not fair. Woe is me. Blah blah blah. I've done that, guys. I've been victim for so long. I'm so tired of being a victim. Like, it's not. where I could easily shift my perspective and just be like, I'm seeing this as it's working out for me. Something in this is working out for me, right? Something about this is actually benefiting me more, and I'm getting something out of this. So that's my message for today. Let's just do a little recalibration. Um, so if you're open to it, guys, close down your eyes. If you're somewhere as well where you can receive this, I wouldn't be doing this while you're driving or at the gym or something like that. Just because who knows what's going to happen and what's going to come through this. So closing down our eyes, just calling in all the beings who wish to work through me, through this container for everyone here today to support in this re-anchoring. Calling in Archangel Michael to hold this sacred space, calling in my dragons, calling in all beings of light to hold this sacred container, and declaring that nothing that is of low vibration may enter this space, and that everything here that takes place is for the highest good of all. Now we are requesting support from, oh, wow, every single one of these beautiful souls who are listening to this throughout now and every timeline, version, future moment in the quantum, that they are supported now to re-anchor into their highest timeline available. So we're just going to go ahead now and start to remove those of you who are still feels like connected to or tapping into, or like most of your consciousness is in the 3D grid of Gaia. Oh, starting to extract all of those cords, programs, any aspect that is keeping you locked into that template, into that grid. And just asking that your soul family, your guides, your team come support you to pull you out. And we're also just detaching any cords of collective stuff that might be tethered onto you, where maybe you've already come out of this grid, but you're still holding some stuff for other people, or the collective stuff at the moment is affecting you, the collective purging. So we're just clearing all of that collective energy. Wow. That's a lot. Just allowing that all to just clear, bringing in Christ light, diamond light to just clear all of that now. And calling that into the earth as well for Gaia to cool down, draw down, dissolve any of those old frequencies of trauma, of heaviness, of density that no longer serve. And we're going to take each of these beings and we're going to take each of their soul crystals out of the earth grid, in the third dimension. Oh, so extracting every single one of their crystals from the earth grid. And we're going to place them now into the higher dimensional fifth dimension grid of Gaia, plugging them now into this new grid, this new version of Gaia, reconnecting their soul crystal into this new grid. Just allowing that to calibrate. And while we're here, just inviting the space for each one of these souls to ask to be recalibrated towards their highest timeline, their highest mission, their highest purpose that is in service of the highest good of all. This is optional, guys. You don't have to do this. But for those of you who deeply want to serve at your highest level and serve the collective at the highest level, here's a space for you to be recalibrated to your highest purpose, highest mission, highest potential, highest soul timeline. Wow. Sharing this frequency now with all versions of you across all timelines, all realities. We're just going to let now all timelines, all realities that don't resonate with this collapsing those timelines now. Just letting them fall away, letting time and space reorganize itself, honoring all of those past versions, all those past timelines for the learnings, the teachings, the lessons, the wisdom. Just letting them dissolve into light. Now asking if there are any downloads, insights, information, guidance for any of these souls regarding their highest timeline, highest mission, any changes that they need to make. Just inviting those messages to be delivered now. And if you'd all just join me, and you can pause as well if you're still receiving messages, but for those of you who are ready to just join me in sending some love to both the old Gaia that's dissolving, disintegrating, the old grid, just giving her thanks and love for how she's held us so beautifully across all our timelines and incarnations, for everything that she's given us, sending her some love and some healing, some support to make this transition. Just imagining light going down through the top of your crown, down through your chakra system, down through your base into the earth, and expanding that light out to all the souls still trapped here in this matrix, still struggling to disconnect, or feeling overwhelmed as this shift takes place. Now sharing, no, sorry, staying here for a moment. That love, that intention, that healing. You might like to acknowledge former versions of yourself here too, sending them love. Now shifting our focus onto this new, beautiful new grid, this beautiful new timeline. Bringing to mind your highest, fullest potential, your dreams for the earth, for the collective, your wishes, your desires, maybe of a more harmonious planet where we live in co-creation with God, with Gaia. We live in harmony with each other, with the earth, with the animals, with the trees, with the rocks, with the minerals. And bringing in the thread of your own unique soul purpose and mission and part to play. Anchoring that into your part in the tapestry and the web. Your song, your expression, and sharing that now with the earth, with this grid. Any soul codes that you have to share from other places, sharing them with the grid. Locking you into that grid now, sending this energy forward into your future, to all versions of yourself, anchoring it through all of your bodies, your physical, your emotional, your mental, your astral, your ethereal, your energetic, your spiritual bodies, through all your light bodies, through all active dimensions of your light bodies. And sending that frequency out to connect with the sun, the source of all light, the central sun. And inviting that light from the central sun to come down and clear out your field completely of all non-resonant frequencies. anything that does not align to this new frequency. Lock that in, lock that in, lock that in. Just taking a moment to come back into your body, wiggling your fingers and toes, just taking notice of how you feel. And I'd like to thank all the beings here supporting. I request to close down all portals that I've opened, or stargates that I've opened for this activation, sending back everything through all portals that is no longer needed. Disconnecting all cords, all bonds, all attachments created consciously or unconsciously for this healing, sending back all energy, which is not mine, inviting you to send back any energy that is not yours, calling everyone listening back into sovereignty, fully anchored in their body, fully anchored in this new reality. And when you're ready, bringing yourself back into the room, you can open your eyes if you feel to, or you can sit there and wig out for a little bit, which is what happens for people when they receive these recalibrations. So that was a big recalibration, guys. If you experienced that and you felt it, just be kind to yourself, be gentle. You might purge a little bit of density. I hope you don't. But if you do, it's all for the highest. Try and drink lots of water. Take it easy on yourself. Let me know if you felt that. Shoot me a message over on Instagram at BeckMyLotus, or a comment or whatever it is, to let me know that you enjoyed that, you felt that. I love hearing this stuff, right? It makes me really happy to know that someone's getting something out of me sitting here like a crazy person channeling stuff. So that's what I have to say today, guys. At the end, I just want to leave a little invitation for those of you who really felt that. I don't do this often, but I'm actually opening the space for 2 people to work on with me. Sorry, not on me. You can't work on me. I work on myself. Work with me in a one-to-one capacity in an offering called the Incubator. And this is specifically tailored for those of you out there who are the medicine men and women, the priests and priestesses, the witches and wizards. And this incubator is a cross between all the marketing work that I do, the quantum marketing, channeling, copywriting, and the recalibrating, energetic, activating soul catalyst work that I do. So what it will be is 6 or 12 weeks. There's 2 options of one-to-one work with me, where we will put you in an incubator, a beautiful grid work, to channel the next offering or highest, whatever it is, iteration of your soul purpose together. We will prepare you. We will recalibrate your field. We will release anything that is in the way of you abundantly receiving for your gifts, any failure templates, any lack templates, any self-doubt, any weird shadowy shit. There's lots of it always, right, guys? Like unclear things that just somehow sneak up and prevent us, right? So I'm very good at being like, this is the fucking thing, and helping you to extract that. So extracting all of that stuff, recalibrating you, downloading any soul codes, any DNA that is ready. We're waking all of that stuff up for you guys. My gift is being able to pinpoint and channel very specifically what your soul codex is, what your gifts are, what your blueprint is, and who it is that you're here to serve, right? So this offering will help you to not only, create your own offering and what that is. We're going to channel the consciousness of the offering together and create it together. So you're going to receive the support to physically, tangibly put it together with the strategy. But also, part of the offering is that I support you in the marketing of that. So I will support you by channeling landing page copy, if that's a thing, or the brochure or the posts or whatever it is, guys. It's very dependent and bespoke on what your actual needs are. So maybe you don't even offer something online. Here for that as well. I'm here for whatever it is, whatever it looks like. Helping you to channel the resonant frequency behind those words, behind what it is that your people need. So there is like alignment, right? They can feel that alignment, and it's not you selling from a place of not feeling in integrity, because it's coming from some place of needing to sell. It's coming from a place of, this is what you need and this is what I'm offering, and I'm speaking directly to your soul, right? That's quantum frequency marketing. So if you've had resistance to sales, to marketing, to Facebook, to Instagram, to any of that stuff in the past, this container will help you with that, because it's a different way of doing marketing, which is soul led, and it's all coming from the soul blueprint, the contract between you and those clients. You will have everything that you need to launch and sell out your offer. And I will be holding your hand through the process. You'll also be held in an energetic grid, which will be working on you, up leveling your field, helping you receive everything that you need to get there. It's quite extensive. I have thought of everything. And yeah, if you call to it, you'll know. If you feel that this is something for you, you will know. If you're listening to this months, years, whatever in the future, this may or may not still be on offer. So send me an email, send me a DM, send me whatever, and we can talk about it. If this is something you're really called to. Right now, I have 2 spots. Maybe in the future, I won't. Who knows, guys? If this calls to you, if this sings to you, I feel 2 of you in my field ready to come in, and I'm so fucking ready and here for this. I've also up-leveled massively in my marketing capabilities as a thanks to the role that I just left. So really excited to serve those of you who are ready to do this to a whole new level, and who are done just playing small and not showing up, right? Because who has fucking time for that? So that's my episode for today. I feel like I might pass out now for the rest of the day. If this serves, guys, let me know. Please, please, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. Leave me a comment. Leave me a like. Share this, particularly if you know anyone going through some funky stuff. Share this with them. It's a really potent transmission, and I would love for as many people as is possible to receive that. So thank you. I love you all. And until next time, beautiful souls, goodbye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Cracked Open. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend if this episode has served you in any way. For more information about the work that I do, or to get in touch with me, read the show notes or head to beckmylonas.com. Until next time, beautiful soul.